Laser Tears with Malia,
Malia.
episode 5. It's okay.
We're still gonna get through
We're
this.
still gonna get through this.
Oh, yes.
So now Sophie's in question. In episode 4, she just got pulled away.
She's
at
in
the
visual.
visual. There was
Yeah.
a whole scene, and she's being questioned now by Salazar's little butt buddy. I totally forgot his name. I like him though.
He's insignificant. He's just Baldy. We'll call him Baldy.
He's not insignificant. He's like the good male friend.
He
like
is.
The rare one at
He's
the cop.
the rare one.
He's the one you would want to work with if you were a female
That's
cop.
true.
Not that we would ever do that. Okay, so she's not looking good. They're like, you had the gun, or like that gun was registered to your name. So things are not looking good for Sophie. Meanwhile, Margo's kind of backed off. She's not really hitting up Sophie as much anymore. You're kind of Margo's kind of starting to look suspicious to the audience. I mean, for me, I was definitely like, oh, this was your whole plot.
Suspect number one. Yeah. So the girlies are all teamed up against Sophie. They're all like, of course she did it. She already committed one homicide.
And they're at a Botox party.
Yes. I've always wanted to go to one of these.
I want to work at those, but I got to get my Botox job first.
Yes, those are some great jobs.
So good for them. So they're all teaming up on Sophie.
Right.
Even her husband is like, who are you?
Right. No, she's about to get kicked out of the house.
Yeah, which we'll see later.
She's not allowed back until she figures out who actually killed Abby.
Yeah, and it's because you see that there's a history here. Graham has stood by Sophie's side like the whole time with her first case where she was charged with vehicular manslaughter. And you can tell that was a big dent in the relationship. So he doesn't want to go through it again with her.
Right.
Yeah.
He really stood by her side. And like at this point,
even at the visual,
like, I'm done playing at your victim's side. Like, you got to figure this shit out.
Like, if this is going to be a pattern, we have a kid now. I'm not doing this again. And then things are going south between Brad and Jamie.
Yes, because their alibis need to match up. And Jamie's like, I'm not gonna lie for you.
Yeah, because he doesn't know who the suspect is. Like, he doesn't know who the culprit is.
Right. I don't think
everyone's
Brad or Jamie knows who kills Abby yet.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then I also want to point out that Pastor Pete, he's getting a little freaky with the next girl in line.
Yeah, and this is where, like, if you thought Pastor Pete was kind of insignificant before, like I did, you start seeing that he could be a prime suspect in this case as well, because you see him scrolling through, you know, the next girl, who happens to be Abby's best friend, Nina. He's starting to prey on her, and we're starting to see that as the audience.
Victim.
Yeah.
And so things are not happening with Brad and Jamie. There's a big fallout.
So that's when, I don't know if it's in this episode, but Jill, Brad's mom, of course, Mama Bear comes in to save the day.
Rescue.
And he doesn't appreciate her.
No.
Yeah. And here's Star, Abby's mom.
She's finally given like that credibility, that like room in the space of the community that she always has deserved.
Yeah.
But ever since her daughter died, then she's getting that.
And she's kind of getting that credibility more so because everyone wants to wash their hands of, you know, being the potential suspect. They don't want, it's not necessarily for Star or Abby. And
Especially Jill. She wants to wipe her hands clean.
Yeah, because Star knows that Jill never liked her daughter, I think.
They're prime suspect number one. Yeah, before
that
Margo is a suspect, Jill, the mama bear.
Yeah. She's not even going at Sophie. She's going after Jill already. And here we see that Sophie's starting to realize that the friend group is kicking her out.
It's falling apart. She's trying to stand up to Margo. She's trying to really like be like, what's up? But Jed is at this time protecting everybody. Like, I have my own reputation. Like, you're not going to even come through this door.
Yeah. And that's where we first meet Jai, who is the secretary and like the only Asian character in the show.
The only other woman of color.
And her last name is Dallas. I forgot what her first name is, but I looked up what her name was. I forgot, but her last name is Dallas, the actress that plays Jai.
She's gorgeous.
And she plays the like, she looks like a Harvard lawyer that the team has just hired to protect their name.
And a PR relation.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Jill's trying to protect her PR relationship
with
and her whole world.
Her whole world is her son. I would just imagine how like isolated you feel as Jill.
Yeah, and her son doesn't even have her back.
Right. You know what I find is interesting in this whole series of how Signal plays a part in it.
Oh, that's right. They're giving away the use of Signal.
Right. Signal is a deadbeat. Like, somebody's cheating on you. Somebody's trying to encrypt something. That really sets Abby off of being like, you're hiding something.
Yeah, definitely.
So here is another payoff. Let's see.
We see a lot of payoffs in this show.
Right. Jamie comes from a lesser financially privileged background.
Yeah. And that's verified here where, you know, Jill's like, hey, if you want to go to this college that your family can't afford to take you to, then just make sure your alibi matches with my son's and my whole family, and we got you. Do you know what I'm saying? And he's like, yes. And you can see he's hesitant with like the moral dilemma, but
I'm going to get this scholarship.
Yeah, I'm going to get this money.
Yeah.
But Jamie is very torn up.
I think he really liked Abby.
Yeah, like, he really liked Abby.
He wanted
to be with Abby.
To be good to Abby, at least.
But
he couldn't be with her.
Yeah. And later on, Brad says, you know, you just wished you could have my sloppy seconds.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, no, he says that earlier.
That's what causes that whole
and that's what makes it potentially Jamie a suspect, too. Even though I know we like Jamie, but, like,
he would never hurt Abby, though. But
he looks like he could have been,
like, an accessory.
Yeah, an accessory to murder.
For that money, for the scholarship. Oh, yeah. So here's Margo's statement.
Yeah, and it's very easy breezy.
Right.
She's like, I had a rough night and I popped a Xanax.
Right. And then my brother Kyle had an OD and I had to rush to his side.
But she doesn't mention that. She's very ashamed of her past.
No, she said she had a family emergency.
But that's what she says.
Yeah, right. She doesn't say that
off
part.
The camera.
Yes.
Where Salazar, the other cop, is like, what the heck? Why is she getting special privileges? So again, it reinforces this is a family of wealth. They are big players in Texas.
Right. And this is where I got all confused. I'm like, wait, is Margo innocent? Because she was always my prime suspect.
She's still my prime suspect here for sure.
Yeah. I was always looking for the shoes because the only the shoes of the killers were seen. So I was like, who's got those black coyote, those cowboy shoes?
I didn't even look at the shoes. You would be a good detective.
I'm Salazar.
Yeah, you're Salazar. You don't look anything like her, though. I'm sorry.
Well, hopefully I don't get brain damage either.
Does Salazar have brain damage?
Well, remember she got shot in that getting too close to the missing girl case.
Yet, ironically enough, she's like the sharpest person on the team, sharper than the sheriff. Here's the funeral again, another important marker, because everything you do at a funeral, the cops are watching you. The family really has to present themselves with the utmost, like, innocence here.
Yes.
Because they are being watched, not only by the community, but by Star, Abby's mom, and the sheriff, who is actually just manipulated by his wife, Callie.
And then who shows up to the funeral? Miss Troublemaker. Is she though? Sophie.
Oh, Sophie. Yeah, little Miss Sophie.
Honestly, this wasn't the best place to talk to Margo about shit.
No, yeah, it wasn't. But it's a TV show.
Right.
And then, like, Margo doesn't even confront her. It's her group of mean girls, the posse, that's like, get out.
This is inappropriate.
I would have just stayed.
Honestly, me too.
Do you think so? Because I feel like leaving makes sense.
Even more culpable.
And it makes, but I don't know. I was thinking about that. What would I do if I were in this situation? And legally, I don't know what the best thing to do would be. But it does bring the attention away from the funeral. So she was probably also trying to be respectful.
Yeah.
But it does make the posse look kind of like, what are you guys up to? Because they're linked to Margo, and Margo in a way has a lot to lose.
She does. And
this
is
Sophie,
when she gets the note on her door, on her car door.
This is the first time I was like, who's One-Eyed Jack? But apparently he was showing up in episode 1 and 2 and 3 a lot.
Yes.
And she's looking around all disturbed. And she goes home to Graham, and he's like, I had your back this whole time.
Right.
And then the freaking cops come in. They just barge in at the worst time possible, which is pretty realistic. And
I think this is the point that he actually kicks her out. And like, I'm not going to allow you into my place until you figure this shit out.
Yeah.
He just looks so dopey.
He is. And he's pissed. And then we go to
the mourners.
The mourners.
The real mourners.
The wake or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting how many people are actually at the funeral and then how many people are actually at the wake. Where there's like so little. So Nina's there and she's crying because she's Abby's best friend. And you see that Pastor Pete is just like preying on her.
Right, with the car, just waiting to pull up on her.
Yeah, he's like, this is my perfect opportunity. You're in your vulnerable state.
Vulnerability at funerals is like peak.
Yeah.
That's true.
So this is the part where I started thinking maybe Pastor Pete was an accessory to murder. Like maybe he was an accomplice to
right,
Margo
he got angry
way.
because like Abby never like followed through on his advances.
Oh yeah, that too. Like he has a personal stake in it too.
Exactly.
I thought that was the part where I was like, maybe Margo hired him to like do his dirty work. But I didn't see the boots.
Interesting.
Then we see Sophie back at the hotel. She's pissed, and I like the acting here because I'm like, I've done this so many times, like throw my phone across the room when I'm like scream into like a pillow.
And then you leave that voice message
that like
fuck you.
It's like I probably should not have left that message, but that voice message is heard across town. Like
this is when you should just voice record yourself, not voice message yourself.
Okay, look at you being all like giving advice in moments of anger. I don't do that. Or write a letter and throw it away, as therapists say.
Right.
So of course it does her no good because Margo plays innocent again, and while she's having her buddy like you know, on the patio dinner with Jed, the sheriff, and Callie, and she plays that recording. And of course they're like, oh, Sophie looks even more suspicious now.
Right.
And that's when this ex-wife, who is hilarious, she's like so jealous.
Yes.
And she's like,
but she's the pinnacle.
Yeah, she's like the turning point.
The turning point, yeah.
But you see her like shaving her, or she's not shaving, but she's kind of like combing her mustache, which I loved. And she was like,
she was obviously once very beautiful.
Yeah. Some would argue she still is, but you can tell that she has it out for Margo, and that's when I realized for real that like that was Jed's ex-wife, and that's the mother of his twins.
Yes.
And she's like, who do you think is doing this? Ding dong.
Right.
So
ding dong.
Ding dong. I love that part. Yeah. And then that's when she's like, oh, you don't have to. The ex-wife says, you don't have to look out for Jed. Jed's a dummy. Look out for Kyle. And then she's like, who's Kyle? And that brings us to episode 6. So I will turn the jacuzzi back on and we will start with episode 6. Woohoo! You're listening to Laser Tears and Malie.
What's up?
What's up?
Oh, this is my favorite episode because it really lays the track to who
is Margo. Yeah.
And you see her, a young hustler, 15 years old.
Yeah.
She's walking up to this old guy's truck very confidently, but you know she's got a scheme going.
And you could tell right away that it was Margo. I knew right away what they were doing when I saw this. I was like, they're introducing Margo.
Yes, and how she schemed and plotted to her wealth.
Yeah.
Which starts as young little hustles.
Yeah, with her brother Kyle, who we get to know more, and he's her baby brother. So she has this truck driver all the way to... This might not even be their house.
That's not even her house.
Yeah.
No. But she's preying on his manipulation.
Yeah.
She knows that she has a lot to lose coming up to this nice house.
Yeah.
Because if she pulled up to her trailer track, he would have just taken advantage of her.
Yeah.
But since he knows that he has a lot to lose at this point as well.
Yeah. But she also has a lot to lose because she tells him that her parents aren't home.
Right, no, but that's part of the ploy. Because then he can come inside, get vulnerable, and bop bop.
Yeah, and I love the part where he's like, who are you? Because her brother pulls up with the gun, Kyle, and then she's like, I'm your worst nightmare. I'm Margo. Well, her name was like something Mandy or something before.
Yeah. She changed her
name.
And
then she totally turns it on the truck driver saying like, oh, you're going to go to the cops?
And what? Tell them fucking truck.
Yeah, she's like, get out of my car. I'm going to tell the cops you're like 15-year-olds. God. And we're like, okay, I was not surprised when they showed that.
Right, it's manipulation at its finest because she's in a state of survival. Because it flips back to her home life back at the trailer, and her mom's emotionally unstable.
And it kind of explains why the drive she has now to like protect what she has.
Right, because she's trying to make rent for her mom, who's emotionally and mentally unstable, who has her children, her, Margo, and Kyle, out of an affair.
With the doctor.
Which comes into play with people's alibis.
Yeah. And so here we see her talking to Kyle, and she kind of learns what Kyle's about. She's just trying to figure out like the timestamps of where Margo was the night that Abby was murdered. And Kyle's like, I'll tell you if you help me with this drive. And this is where Sophie's like, okay, you're really clueless. Like, I instantly knew that she was going to be in this scam.
Right. Sophie, please leave. We're going to get caught up. She's so dumb. Like, honestly, she has no street smarts.
Yeah, she has none, which is crazy because they depict her when she's younger and she's like a little punk. So you think she has some street smarts, but she really doesn't.
She does not, yeah.
And here Kyle says he doesn't like his sister.
Right. I think Margo does a really outfit change when she's like, I'm officially a politician's wife.
And we see her come back to Sophie. Finally, they have a confrontation, and Margo begs Sophie to...
I'm on your side.
Yeah, she's like, I'm on your side. I've been on your side.
It's probably the pastor's wife. It's probably Jill.
Yes, and then to my surprise, Sophie forgives her. I was like, what? Too. You are so stupid.
You're stupid. This is obviously the villain of the story.
Yeah. So she's sold. So they just agree to work together. Meanwhile, Salazar is digging deeper into this case.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is where we see that Sophie confronts, or she doesn't confront, but she goes to Stars, and we see that Star never thought that Sophie was like a prime suspect. Like, she just doesn't buy it. She thinks it's Brad and Jill.
Yes.
And here we see Jai again.
Yes. Her Jai scene, one of her 3 full scenes.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, you're comfy in my husband's office, which is like a foreshadowing later.
And Margo's still playing all the cards.
Yeah.
With all of the girls within the group.
And I'm pretty sure Jai like suggested that she like get everyone to sign an NDA form. So this is where you really see like the loyalties start to kind of like get tested in the friend group even more. Jill's not willing to sign it. Callie, you see, is hesitant, which foreshadows something later. But they all eventually sign it except for Jill, which causes a bigger rift in their friendship.
And one of the reasons why Sophie forgives Margo is because she affirms with Kyle that he almost OD'd that night that Abby died, and Margo did in fact leave the residence and go to his side at the doctor's side, because Sophie goes to the doctor and the doctor says, well, yeah, Margo showed up here because her brother almost died that night.
Oh yeah, the doctor that completely breaks HIPAA. Yeah, I took notes about that. Margo.
And it was so easy for him to break HIPAA to
he's like
follow in with that alibi.
Yeah, Sophie's like, you don't understand. She already told me everything. And the doctor's like, oh, okay. Well, then in that case, let me tell you everything.
Right. Okay. Pastor Pete's really falling apart at this moment here.
Oh yeah, and the reason that Sophie goes to Pastor Pete is because she was asking Star earlier, like, who Pastor Pete is in this whole role, and Star's like, Abby probably told him things she didn't tell me. So that's when something in Sophie's head goes off. She's like, ding, 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 I should go interview this guy and find out where he was the night of the murder.
Because it's known at this point in the plot that Abby's his last phone call.
Yeah, that comes up. I forgot where that comes out.
And coincidentally, Nina is about
Abby's
to walk up
to
Pastor Pete's house as his next victim.
Yeah, but as a good girl, she's kind of like staying out of trouble. Like, she's staying out of sight while Sophie's interrogating him in a way.
Sophie walks off, and then Nina comes up to the...
Yeah. And then here's Mama Jill trying to protect her Brad, and the pastor's like, you guys got to get your stories straight. Do not talk to me until you get your stories straight. Which is why I don't think he's that ethical of a pastor either, because he's also all about the family.
He's very passive and everything. He's not really...
He just cares about his role.
Reputation. Right. Reputation is everything.
And then we end with Margo practicing shooting.
First 2 things that Salazar remembers from getting shot in the head, right? She remembers the smell
of the cigarettes, right?
Cinnamon bubblegum.
Oh, never mind. The smell of
cinnamon bubblegum and vodka.
Yeah.
And then she pulls up to his doorstep. She looks at the receipt on his doorstep, and it says vodka.
And that is when her intuition and her like PTSD really kicks in.
Yes.
Because that was the day she was shot.
Yes.
And she automatically is like, get out of the car. Even while he's rifling through his stuff.
Right.
Because she knows she's been drinking.
She sees in the glove compartment the cinnamon bubblegum.
that part, I was like, what's going on? Why is she like acting like this?
Yes, she knows.
She knows. And then they go on a high-speed chase. She calls her backup
with the baldy man.
The baldy man. We love him because he's an advocate for her.
Oh,
he's like the only reason the team listens to her, which I thought was so ironic.
And if he wasn't here, then nothing would have gone.
He reminds me of like Bobby Hill as a cop. If you watch King of the Hill. So they go on a high-speed chase, and all he has to do is like show up on the other side, and Pastor Pete comes out. It was like so easy for him to stop Pastor Pete.
And they have a whole like show off
scene. So Salazar doesn't want him to end it. She knows that
she wants a confession.
She wants a confession. She wants something, and he won't give that to her. And that's when he takes out his gun and he kills it himself.
Yeah.
And that's when they go into the car, which I thought she was like so smart for responding that quickly. But she heard somebody knocking in the back of that U-Haul, and it sure enough is Nina and the missing girl.
I think that is kind of clever because it's still left on a cliffhanger if Salazar knows or not if Pete is responsible for this or is it somebody else, you know?
And we find out later that she doesn't think he's responsible for it, right?
I think that she has hints and clues to it, but no solid evidence.
Yeah. And then we fast forward to Sophie wanting to come back home. Graham is like, no,
she's got all her info.
You gotta like finish what you started, which, you know, I don't really blame him. And then we got Salazar talking to Nina, and she's just being really like kind to Nina.
She wants to know from Nina, do you think Pastor Pete could be responsible for this? And Nina's like, well, I found Abby's sweater in his car.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, from a criminology perspective, Pastor Pete never kills his woman. Mm-hmm. He keeps them in a drug-like state. He doesn't kill them.
He just keeps them as victims.
He keeps them as victims.
That's right.
He keeps his little harem.
Yeah.
But he's never committed murder yet.
Yeah, so he was just like being a weirdo and collecting her stuff too.
And meanwhile, the whole police agency, they just want to like put a period in this. They want to say, we solved it.
They want to wrap it up.
We did this. We're heroes. And Salazar is like,
well, they say that this is not related to Abby's murder, and Salazar is like confused.
Right.
Like she's gonna put her 2 cents in.
Right. No, she's a toughie. She's a baddie. For sure. She knows what's up.
So they still think that it's Sophie, and they're still ready to pin all of it on Sophie. Because there's footage that they found, which Salazar doesn't know about. And they're going to show that later.
Mm-hmm. But I guess that's what happens when you're blacked out drunk. Because, like, you don't remember shit. And you just go out into the forest and try to talk a girl down from exposing her best friend.
Oh, yeah. Wrong place at the wrong time, Sophie. Sophie never knows what time it is. Okay, so Molly and her dog had to leave because they have things to do. They have a life. So I'm going to finish chapter 7 and episode 8 with you guys. We left off where Sophie's getting questioned by the sheriff. She's got her high-end lawyer that Graham paid for. Sheriff's not buying it. They are convinced that Sophie committed the murder because she is actually caught on camera chasing Abby. Abby looks upset about something, and Sophie's waddling along. She looks like she's trying to convince Abby to not do something. Right off the get-go, I got that vibe that Sophie's actually trying to play like a mediator role, but the cops are not buying it. And also her poor lawyer attorney person is like, stop talking. I thought it was interesting that he said your job is to not help the police. So he's like, stop talking. And Sophie's like, I have nothing to hide. And then she's shown that footage. And then the cops are all believing Sophie did it as well, except for Salazar. Of course, Salazar does not buy it for 1 minute, but people are not siding with her. Meanwhile, we see that it's the first time that Star, Abby's mom, walks into her room, and she's looking at her cheerleader outfit. She's crying. And then lo and behold, she picks up a cute little outfit, something you'd get like a bikini top and undies from Victoria's Secret. So she starts to think twice about what Sophie told her before, that Abby might have had an abortion with Brad. And that's when she starts to get involved, and she's go to the restaurant that she knows Jamie works at. It's a small town again, guys. Everyone seems to know everything about each other. And Jamie's like very hesitant to share anything, but his response is enough to get
Abby's mom
thinking that Jill is the prime suspect here. And we fast forward to Jill again, OCD Jill scrubbing away the town's dirtiness, everything that's stressing her out, because Jill really has nobody to go to. We show Sophie's in jail. Salazar's puzzled. She's doing her research. Meanwhile, the girls are having another night out. Their cute little bimbo blonde friend, I love her, is killing it on the bull riding. And she comes in and she's like, my coochie is rubbed raw. And the girls are talking. While that's happening, they show Star pull up to this intense moment where she pulls up to Jill's house. And the girls are going on about how Jill doesn't trust them. Jill is suspicious. And they're like, you know what? Let's just go see what Jill's up to. And that's when they turn up unannounced. I mean, this is a bit much. Like, these girls do not have boundaries. They come in. Jill is playing off that she has a cold, but they're not. They're like, oh, good. Well, then we'll party at Jill's house. And that's when they see Star's dead body. That surprised me. I did not expect that to happen. They're living in Texas. It's an open carry place. And right when Margo starts trying to talk, Jill's like, shut up. I just need 1 minute. She doesn't want to call the police yet. She just needs 1 moment to think what she's going to do to protect herself and her family. And that's when you can tell that Jill and Margo have had this rip for a while. So Jill actually starts aiming at Margo, and that's when she is shot dead to the ground. And that's when we see that Callie has shot her, which that seals up episode 7. Episode 7 was intense, guys. And that also shows that Callie's loyalty is always going to lie with Margo, no matter what Margo does. Margo, in the eyes of some people, can just do no wrong. And that, again, goes back to her manipulation. So in episode 8, now the murder is pinned on Jill. Poor Jill got shot in her own home by Callie. She has a motive, which was she was upset about the abortion, or she wanted Brad to have an abortion. Whatever the reason, everyone's buying it. There was a phone. Abby's phone was put in Jill's cupboard. Oh. So now the murder is pinned on Jill. In the book, I learned that originally Jill is the murderer, and Jill kills Margo in the book. That was something that Molly told me from the podcast that she listened to called, oh my gosh, I can't even read. Shout out to that podcast though. And we see Callie on Nancy Grace. I was shocked because I'm a Nancy Grace fan. I'm not gonna lie. She is just so ridiculous. And Callie and her sheriff husband are sharing their story of how they basically protected Margo and killed Jill, and they're being praised for it. And Nancy Grace is like, you need to figure out what you're gonna do next. And that's when Callie kind of has this confidence boost, because she's been living in Margo's shadow for so long. And all she's been doing is chasing Margo, in my opinion, and using her influence over her husband to side with Margo. And then they have this little meetup where they meet for mimosas and brunch, just like the high-end unemployed wives they are, and talk about the good old days. Callie brings up the good old days. And Margo's kind of standoffish, and Callie just says, hey, cut the bullshit. Like, what's the real reason? You know? Is it Sophie? And of course, Margo denies, and Callie's just heartbroken. And that's when she realizes, I see you. That Margo realizes that Callie was the one that left that note in her car that was so disturbing. And Callie says, I'm sorry, I was just having a low moment. I wanted you to hurt like I was hurting. You know, Sophie's finally allowed to come back home. She's no longer the murderer or prime suspect in Abby Jackson's death. And Graham is ready to move on, but Sophie is just saying she's changed. She needs more time. Graham, the good husband that he is, tries to give her the time she needs. Unknowns to him, she's going over to Margo's, and they're having a good old time that she should be celebrating with Graham, but she's over at Margo's. Margo afterwards is relaxing and Sophie uses her bathroom. And that's when Sophie finds the tampons in Margo's bathroom drawer, and she remembers flashback to episode 1 where Margo says, I don't use tampons. And Sophie said she just thought it was a Republican thing. And then she goes over and looks to her car and looks up why. And I was surprised I didn't Google this earlier, but looks up that it could have been that Margo now was the one that had an abortion with Brad, not Abby that had an abortion. And that's when she goes over to Brad. She just walks into Brad's pool and he's like being a sad boy, having a little Pete moment. You know, he lost his mom and Abby, so you can't really blame him. That's when Sophie finds out the truth. It was Margo that had an abortion, not Abby, which makes her realize that it was actually Margo that committed the murder. And that's when she agrees to meet up with One-Eyed Jack, which I thought this part was so weird that she meets up with this black man and he says, from now on, you're going to be dealing with me. And she's like, who are you? Do you work for the Democrats? And I thought that was so funny because he says, I don't ask who cuts you your paycheck, okay? I love that line. I'm going to start using that line. And he says, all I got on Margo Banks is that Margo used to be an escort. And I just love Sophie's response because she doesn't even care. She's like, got it, cool. She's not even fazed by it. One-Eyed Jack's representative, or whoever this man is, says she got a drug addict brother, mom, father, married to the nurse the whole time. And that's when Sophie finds information that she could use, which is that Dr. Blevin, the doctor in the earlier episode in that weird clinic she went to, he's Margo's dad and Kyle's dad. Plot twist from a secret affair. And that's when she pulls this evil move where she goes to his clinic pretending to be a woman that's hemorrhaging out from maybe a miscarriage, and Dr. Blevin and his wife, out of the kindness of their heart, decide to take her in. And that's when she confronts him. And that's when she finds out that Margo, aka Mandy, is his daughter, and that Margo was never there the night of the murder. And that's when she realized this whole thing was a setup. It's like, it took you 8 episodes. Long enough, girl. Come on, Sophie, get with it. And of all places, man, she's like the cops right here when she comes to the mayor's big night. It's another big night, and he's trying to get everyone to vote with him. He's displaying his power and influence in the community. And that's when Sophie shows up to a party that she's not invited to, and to do the confrontation of the show, which tears Margo apart. And Margo is looking all glamorous, and Sophie says, I know it was you, and you framed me. And that's when we see the actual shooting scene, and this time it shows Margo's face. And like, I won't lie, like, I thought Margo was the prime suspect from the beginning, but when her and Sophie started becoming buddy towards episode 3 and 4, I started to think maybe she's not the prime suspect. Maybe she doesn't know what's going on either. I was surprised to learn that she was the shooter this whole time, and this time they'd show Margo's face. And that part was crazy. And Margo is just trying to play every card. Come on, you knew I was crazy. Like, this is my life we're talking about. You can't go to the police. And Sophie is not convinced. She has felt the ultimate betrayal. She even goes home to her husband and opens up to him that she was having an affair with Margo. And he cannot take it. He's like, who is he? And when he finds out it was his boss's wife, he skips town. And that's when it simultaneously shows Margo talking to her husband, because he's calling her out on the way she acted at his big self promotion event. So there's a moment where Margo thinks that she can come clean to Big Jed because he says, I'm Big Jed, I know people. So you see a glimmer of hope, and she starts to talk to him about Brad, and he can handle that. He says, oh, naughty girl. She says, oh, I broke our rule, which was to only get with girls. You can get with girls, but I broke our rule. I got with Brad. And Jed's like taken back, but he can handle it. But then as soon as she starts talking about Abby Jackson and the abortion, he slaps her and he says, "Do you not see everything I've done for you?" And he kicks her out of the house with nowhere to go himself. He says, "Don't you realize that you're supposed to make my life better? You're supposed to make me happy?" And I just thought it was so corny that he hitting it up with Jai, the secretary. Like, come on, dude, you're a moron. We see that now Graham is the one out of the house, not Sophie. Sophie's the one with the kid. And she just has her neighbor watch the kid, which is like, is that how people are in Texas? Do you just text your neighbor and they can watch your kid while you go out and throw a few drinks back? But anyway, she does it. And you just see that, like, Sophie hasn't really changed 1 minute. She hasn't learned from any of her mistakes. Like, she's committed murder. She's been framed for murder. And now she's going to do it all over again. She goes to a liquor store, buys 3 of those shooters along with a glass of wine. And it's like, where are you even going, girl? And that's when she realizes that she's being followed. And that's when it brings us to the ultimate cliffhanger. Kyle has been following her. He wants to protect Margo. He wants to protect Big Sis Margo like they did for each other since they were kids. And he's going to do whatever it takes, even if it's killing Sophie. And that's when she presses the gas and she kills Kyle. And she answers the phone while she's dragging Kyle through the dirt. And she hears Margo on the other end say, "Are you bothering Sophie like I told you not to?" And that's when Margo knows that her brother is in big trouble. And it just ends with him drowning. So I hear there's going to be a season 2 and I can't wait. I don't know if I'm going to read the book. Yeah. Overall, I would give this an 8 out of 10. So if you liked my review, please drop it in the comment below. If you want to see more reviews, please let me know. What do you think is going to happen in episode 2? Who is your favorite character? I want to know in the comments below. Also, let me know what other TV shows you'd like me to review. If you have any constructive feedback from me and Malie, because we'd like to do this more. So if you like what you see, subscribe, like, and follow.